Here we go. All right. All right. Yeah. Okay. We good now. All right. So we're gonna wait for him for a second to come on in, man. I seen Half Breed in here. Joe Boy. Come on in. 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 How's everybody doing, man? I hope everybody's having a blessed weekend. Everybody had a good Sunday. Um, Fortunately, we're not like everybody else. Texas A&M, Oklahoma, they are all lost in all types of sauce right now. And we are very fortunate right now. We're very fortunate right now to not be lost in this type of sauce. They swimming in all sweet and sour sauce. Everybody. I mean, come on, John. Hey, everybody, they swimming in it right now. But
Uh,
USC is fighting on, and hey, we came through with a victory. Listen, come on in, come on in. Hey, fight on, KB17. Keith, what's up? Digital
fight on,
asset.
fight on.
Jared, what's up? John, what's going on?
What's good? Yeah.
Kalani, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Big Brian, what's up, my man? All the way from Alabama, man. What's going on, man? We're gonna talk about this game. John was on the field last night, and I don't know if you guys seen a brief clip. I put a brief clip out there on YouTube yesterday, and he was on there. Terry T, what's going on? Relo, what's going on? And so we want to talk about this. We want to break down. And listen, I went through some numbers yesterday. Today rather, I went through some numbers with Arizona State when they played Utah last week, and then when they played Oklahoma State. We're going to compare that to USC's numbers, but we want to give a brief assessment on what he's seen on the field last night. Big J, what's up?
Awesome.
What's the word, Big J?
So, happy Victory Sunday yet again. What sounds better than 4-0? 5-0. So, super, super grateful to have pulled off another victory, especially representing the home turf, and we did a really well done job of not missing the mark on our moment, because these are the types of games that are trap games, the ones that you're supposed to win, the one where your opponent doesn't on paper doesn't seem very threatening and you feel like you match up very well against them. I can remember when I was playing, those were some of our most challenging contests, were the ones where we were like 25 to 30 point favorites in those matchups, and those dudes ended up coming out and really playing they played their January 1st bowl game against us, you know. And that's kind of what I saw. I saw Arizona State play above their talent level in a lot of positions. And then I saw our young men play a step or two down beneath where they've been firing over the last 2 to 3 weeks. So
Right, right.
when you get that type of a dynamic, sometimes it's a war of attrition. Sometimes you're going to get a little bit of a diminished return, especially when you believe that you're the superior athletes, you're the superior program. These guys are going through a lot of hardship right now, and you feel like they're going to be deflated. And the media would like us to believe that Arizona State had nothing to play with. Listen to me. Anytime you're going to play against USC on a national landscape, that's never an opportunity to play for nothing. You're getting
Absolutely.
you're getting national exposure. Most of, if not all, 32 teams in the NFL are going to be finding players that are on that field and scouting those games. So you don't believe that those young men from Arizona State, who most of them are SoCal, are California kids who
Big,
wanted to
big time.
who dreamt of going to USC. You don't think that those dudes are going to come and play with their whole heart? Like, they putting their whole heart into everything,
Absolutely.
and that made for a competitive first half. And I actually like USC going out there, not doing what they thought they were going to do defensively, but having the offense kind of steer the ship, uh, quite opposite of what we experienced last week against Oregon State. And then the defense had a little bit of hardships. But overall, I gave the team as a whole a B plus overall. And the only reason I'm going to say not an A is because we had too many penalties. We had too many
Absolutely.
we had too many penalties on the offensive line. I think as a defensive line, we were out of position in some of the things that I could notice. But overall, man, we balled out. We did what we were supposed to do. Our coaching staff had the young men get it back into gear coming out of the half. And really, I think they had like 113 yards rushing. Arizona State had 113 yards rushing in the first half. And in the second half, they finished with like minus 13 or minus 14 yards total in the whole
Absolutely.
second half. So what that tells me is we can do it. It's just a matter of being dialed in and mentally sound and putting our bodies in the right positions for all of our fits in the run game. And our defensive secondary has been good all year. Right? I actually think it's a whole different ball game if ASU doesn't score their first touchdown. And I'm going to tell you, I was on the field in the end zone. I was in the far end, the end zone that he scored in. I was behind that end zone watching the play, and I saw an illegal procedure. Like the way Shane Lee got beat on that first touchdown by the running back, and that's a good running back, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
The tight end came up and actually blocked him for a split second. He blocked him in a pass play. And what that did is it forced Shane to freeze and look in the backfield as though it were a run.
Mm-hmm.
And then the running back hit the wheel route and kept going down the sideline. That's an illegal procedure. You cannot run 5 to 10 yards up the field and block a defender if it's not a run play. But they got away with it.
So they got away with it.
And that was third and 16 or something crazy, third and long. If they don't score on that drive, I believe we blow them out, and it's like a 12, like they score maybe 12 points, and we route them 49-12, something like that. But again, that confidence of them scoring early and matching us blow for blow in the beginning gave them a little bit of that energy that they needed to say, look, we played every team that we played this season extremely competitive, especially in the first half. These guys are no different. But I believe that had we shut them out right there and we go up 2 scores, it dictates the way they play, and we really capitalize on some of those tip passes that we missed out on this weekend. There's just a whole different ball game. But the refs allowed for that pick play to happen. And if you guys watch that film and go on YouTube, you'll see that the tight end runs up to Shane, bumps him like he's blocking. Shane squares up and settles, and the running back gets behind him. That's illegal.
Right.
But anyway, I digress, man. I'm just fussing. But
let's speak. I'm gonna speak to that. Let's speak to those guys coming out and everybody essentially having a trial for the NFL. And not only that, not to mention the fact that they're playing against USC. USC is going to take everybody. You got, like I said last week, everybody's going to come for USC 100%, being that they're the 6th team in the country. Not only that, I looked at Utah game. I kind of went back and kind of looked at Utah game, and then I looked at the Oklahoma State game, and I look at the yardage that they put up compared to what Caleb Williams did. I looked at Emory Jones' yards, then I looked at Cam Rising's yards, and man, Caleb ran circles around him as it relates to yard. Caleb had what? He had on a night, let's see, he had 348 yards passing. I looked at Arizona State's Emory Jones. He had 261 yards passing against Utah. He had 223 yards against Oklahoma State. And against us, he had 243 yards. So you see, we pretty much, with all those top teams, as it relates to their passing yards, we're pretty much even as to what they did to those top teams. And it kind of seems like, because we get gashed from some kind of some maybe 20, 30-yard runs, it appears that it's worse than what it really is. But they only had 88 yards rushing last night.
That's right.
And it wasn't that much, that many yards. And so, and to your point, that's a 1,000-yard running back that was at Wyoming the past couple of years, and he came to the transfer portal. He was extremely productive guy, and for us to hold him only to 88 yards, man, I think them to 88 yards. I think it was that speaks volumes of USC's defense, man. It is not as bad as what people think it is when you compare it up to Utah and Oklahoma State, who are supposed to be top teams. What's your thoughts on that?
No, I couldn't agree more. So we have this perception is reality, and that's the truth. So if we're perceiving that we're playing poorly, then in your world, the defense is playing poorly.
Right.
In your mind, you believe and you have this sick feeling the defense is bad. The defense is this, that, and the other. But the thing is until somebody outguns us, outscores us, and beats us, our defense is doing exactly what it's designed to do, which is
Absolutely.
create a cushion for our offense to thrive and operate comfortably and keep injuries to a minimum. So
Absolutely.
what we got to understand is this is just the fifth game of this season. This is the fifth game of this campaign.
Right.
We have already beaten our total win total from last year. We won 4 games
Absolutely.
last year, and it took us all season to get 4. So we are a little bit spoiled, I think, and as Trojan fans, we might have a little bit of a entitlement, and we believe that we deserve certain things, and
Right. Right. Right.
that very well may be true. But what I'll say about us feeling like we deserve things, I'll say that the young men that are on that battlefield, they deserve the credit for doing the things that they're doing. And
Absolutely. Absolutely.
we need to be a sounding board to make certain that those guys really, really get the acknowledgments for the efforts that they're contributing out there on that field. You see, we had 7, 8 players on the defense play the most significant amount of reps that they've had this season. That's a steady, healthy sign of active progression.
Right.
We're not diminishing. We're not playing any worse. There are sometimes plays get away from us, just like with every great defense. Sometimes plays get away from them. There are sometimes a individual player can have a heroic effort that wears a different color uniform. Every now and then you're going to run into some great Division I football players who you'll be matched up against. That's
Absolutely.
that young man has busted his tail to play against USC.
Absolutely.
He's worked hard for that opportunity to shine in his moment. So like I never throw shade at the other team unless they're dirty, crooked, playing evil and malicious and doing all these other things. But the truth is Arizona State played a wonderful competitive effort for the fact
Yeah.
that they're going through so much trauma within their program.
Right. Right.
And it was their best shot. It was their
Absolutely. The
best
absolute
punch.
best shot.
It was their
Absolute
best
best
punch.
shot.
And if you can get a team that has the equal and same playing field as you, if you can take a team who's giving you their very best shot and almost beat them by 20 points or more, that's a dominant victory in NCAA Power 5 college football.
Right.
This is the
Right.
same Arizona State that I believe going to a different conference is probably the top 2 or 3 teams in their conference.
Right.
Even
Right.
even under these circumstances, because they've got great weapons.
They have
They
some athletes, man.
they really do. And and I would arguably say that some of their players, pound for pound, position for position, might have a little more skill and experience than some of ours in the opposing spots. I'm really not going to speak.
Especially the interior guys. That's
Yeah,
probably the best
that's what
interior
I'm leaning
D
at.
tackle. Yeah, that's probably the best we're gonna face all year long.
Those two
Um,
those two
yeah,
defensive tackles are phenomenal, and
yeah,
they were creating a lot of chaos.
yeah.
They were pushing our O-line back to a small degree, and that's where Caleb was doing his thing. I mean, I believe
Man, that's a whole nother story we got to talk
we were
about.
prepared. We were prepared for that push from the front 2 guys in the middle,
Yeah,
and it did impact our running game.
yeah.
However, I don't believe that we needed to crush Travis Dye and Austin and Raleek for this game. I believe
Right,
that everybody says, why don't we run the ball? Why don't we run the ball? What you know why we didn't run the ball? Because you're not the coach. And
right,
and you don't get to call that. And first of all,
right.
you're not on the field. It's not why we didn't you weren't running the ball. They didn't run the ball for reasons that I'm
Yeah,
confident that they're aware of, guys. And this is not to me. I hope I'm not coming off brash or arrogant. It's just these coaches are pretty masterful in how they do things.
especially Lincoln Riley. He's been through it. He's
He
been
is.
in big games, man.
He
Big time games.
understands. He understands. So you don't need to run the ball when your passing game is effective.
Right,
You
right.
don't need to run your critical players into the dust in games that don't necessarily require that level of workload, especially when you're loading up for a very challenging Washington State and a very, very aggressive, probably arguably a top 10 Utah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you got to find ways to give guys active recovery. Okay.
Absolutely,
This is
absolutely,
an active recovery game for our linemen as well as our running backs. Okay.
absolutely.
So active recovery is you still got to play and put in work. We're still going to reward you for your efforts, especially when we get down those short yardage situations. But we don't expect you to carry the team on your back like you did the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
We don't need you to crush yourself in this game when we definitely are going to need you to load up for the next couple, right? And finish the season strong.
Big
So
time.
so that's where we are. And then
Yeah.
and then you get an opportunity to get your rock star quarterback back in rhythm, back in sync in front of his hometown. I mean, he was swagged
He
out.
got it together, man. He got it
Vibe.
together.
He was vibing, bro.
Yeah.
He was out there like
He was in that zone, man.
hey, he was out there
he
just
was
like
he was in that zone. He
yeah.
looked like Houdini out there, but we'll talk
Mhm.
about him. But one thing I wanted to mention, the transfer portal has made it so much so that it's so much parity now. It's not you're not going to see a big gap. I mean, I don't care where you go. If you guys seen
No.
Georgia was completely lost in all the sauce yesterday. They were lost in every sauce imaginable. John, we talked about this, man. They were lost in paste pecani sauce. They were lost in sweet and sour sauce. Georgia was lost in the sauce completely because I believe because of the parity, man. And here's the deal. Here's the deal. Hi, Bree. Appreciate you, my man. He
Yes,
says,
sir.
I
Yes,
concur with
sir.
you, Two Kings. Fight on.
Fight
Hey,
on.
and once you get these guys, even if they come from other schools, like Washington State got a quarterback, came from Incarnate Word. Uh, Arizona State got a couple of guys from Wyoming. It's the quarterback from Florida. So now it's making parity. And you see Texas A&M, they lost in the sauce. All these teams are now lost in the sauce because of the parity. And everybody that thought they were going to be good, now they find themselves swimming in all types of sauce. And as a result, they get knocked out of the top 25, man. You know what I mean? So this is where
Bruh.
we at with it. In Arizona State, let's be honest, they came with it, man. They came with it. What's your thoughts, John? Hey, John, you know they was lost in the sauce, Big John. We already know. Hey,
Big
I
bro
gotta stop because I get
Big bro
John get a
time
kick
out.
out of this, man. But
Hey,
hey, we
hey,
all
man.
know everybody. Hey, TCU, absolutely. They beat up on
Oh,
Oklahoma. Oklahoma is the biggest lost in the sauce candidate of all time. And
oh
everybody
my
knows that on this
God.
program right now because they were the ones that was talking the stuff. They are the lost in the sauce candidate of the year. And we're not going to take that from you at all. You keeping that.
I don't like to throw shade on programs because
Right.
I've been a part of winning programs and losing ones. You know, I've been a part
Yeah.
of a winning USC culture and then one that was excuse me, on the verge of becoming something special. But man, so what you trying to say was Oklahoma was in the Worcestershire sauce. They was in the the horseradish sauce.
Man. I mean, that's the sauce that
Oh,
just kind of sting your throat back there, man.
oh
Man.
man. Oh
So
my
look,
gosh.
man. Hey, thank God, thank the Lord that USC didn't find themselves. Because listen, with the parity in the transfer portal now, it makes everything an even playing field, man. And anybody on any given day can be lost in the sauce, and that's the bottom line with it, man. Any
That's
given
so
day,
it's so true.
anybody can get got.
It's
So
so
I think that speaks to the discipline of Lincoln Riley. I think that speaks to the discipline,
without a
even
doubt.
of our team. Now, I did see major, a lot of penalties last night. That was kind of it was out of the norm for what we usually see from the offensive line. I couldn't I'm like,
No,
man, that
let's
was kind
speak
of
on that.
different.
Well, let's speak
Speak
on
on
that
that.
because I saw them warming up, and first of all, our offensive linemen warm up like DBs. It's crazy. They doing backpedal. No, I'm telling you,
Yeah,
I think I have some film on it. I'm gonna send it to you. But they're doing backpedal drills very similar to that of a yeah, I was laughing, bro. They were they were doing backpedal drills, jump knee tucks. You guys can hear the strain in my voice from last night's game because I was down there on the sideline, praying with some of the young warriors, and I was just
yeah.
hyped. We are SC, and I was letting these guys know that we're here for them, and so I can feel that like kind of raspiness in my voice from just being so turned up all night. Because one thing about our fans is they're kind of they're still accustomed to like I don't know, let me say this the correct way. We have so much stuff going on in Southern California that it's challenging to get these guys excited in the crowd.
Right.
there's multiple professional teams across all different sports, across all different backgrounds, all centralized in LA and in Los Angeles County, SoCal, right? And NorCal is just a blink away from where we are.
Right.
So I was in the stands in the second half, just watching everybody sipping on what they was drinking and just lounging and enjoying themselves, while I'm like deeply, intensely locked in on this game and like what's unfolding. And I'm like, this doesn't feel good. This is a slumber game, and these are the types of games where you sneeze the wrong way and then you end up behind.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to tell everyone around me, because they were vexing me because they were talking about things off topic that didn't have anything to do with the game. And they were saying, we blew these boys out. We got it in the bag. And I'm like, no, do you not realize that they're about to onside kick this ball?
Man,
It's about
God.
to happen. But I'm just saying, so here's what I'm getting at with regards to how you asked me about the offensive line and doing their thing. I believe that the offense is very, very responsive to the energy in the crowd. The defense is very, very responsive to the energy in the crowd. But particularly old linemen, they feel fueled up when you hear the roar of a first down, because they've been pancaking dudes and blocking guys.
That's a good point.
Driving them into the dirt. And the energy is really high in there, right? And then when that energy drops and the offense is executing and is doing really well, and the crowd is kind of silent and you can hear everything, you can hear the guy in front of you breathing, you can hear everything like a pin drop. You know what? You're liable to jump off sides. You're liable to be so hypersensitive and hyper-focused of your environment that everything seems a little bit more elevated, because you just had this big adrenaline high, and then all of a sudden you get in your stance and now it's dead quiet. Which yes, that's a good thing for a quarterback and his offense to be able to communicate. But sometimes there's a drop off and there's a little bit of what we call an adrenaline dump, right? An adrenaline dump, and then you get like a little jump off sides or a little something when you're ready to go again. So yes, I think we're going to work that out. My boy Gino, he got in there kind of for the first time.
Yeah, he was in there doing it last night,
and he's a great young man.
He held his own.
He had one false start, but other than that, he played like a maniac, did his thing, put his body on the line. I talked to him after the game and gave him a big old hug, and I was just like, man, you were playing with the power of the Lord, man. You did really, really wonderful against those monsters in the middle, because he was right there matched up with them two tanks in the middle. And Gino, a little side story. Gino was a young man that we were able to do some community work, some charity work in the Los Angeles area, where we were doing some work with the homeless people in that region and just giving back. And you were able to bless us a time and send some goods and some food products out there, non-perishables, for those guys. And Gino was out there, and he brought him some spaghetti and food and just loved on the people and just he has a heart for people. So to see him out there and do his thing was really phenomenal. So the penalties on our offensive line, I'm pretty confident that this is the last week you're going to see that like that.
Right. That's really the only time that we haven't been doing it at all.
I really believe that. Yes, Cortland was a little banged up this week. Our offensive line was kind of banged up and nicked up. We had a very violent game last week, and the week before that, we were very run conscious and pounding the ball. That was against Fresno State. So check it out. When our coaches do our drop backs and we're running a different type of scheme, it's tough. It's tough for a coach to game plan with so many things on their mind. It's tough for a coach to say, okay, we got to get this guy touches, this guy look, get this guy involved, keep this guy energetic, protect this guy, and put him in an offensive scheme that he understands really, really well. Let's not create any bad type of blocking schemes for this player. And they're thinking about things that none of us are really concentrating on. And then they're drawing real life value from what's happening on the field. Because what you guys don't know is at the moment that every single player goes off the field to the sideline, they're giving the coaches an evaluation of what the offense or the defense is doing to them, what they're seeing on the field, and they're game planning on the fly. And so for you to say, why is this? Why is this? Why is this? Sometimes they're making real life in-game adjustments that weren't really done throughout practice week. And so that's where you'll get those types of
Absolutely. And they threw
holdings.
everything out there. They threw
And
new stuff out there as well.
they play with a different scheme like everyone else. Everyone has 4 teams so far we played that have changed up their scheme for us. Right?
Absolutely.
So when I say like have a lot of grace at this point, we are just 5 games into the season. We have a ton more to go. And this team is not digressing. Our stats
Right.
are not
Right.
declining in terms of productivity. But what we're getting and experiencing is the battles are getting tougher. Why?
Right.
Because there's more film for teams to follow us. There's
Right.
more banged up players periodically throughout the season. There's more situational football. And when you realize that, you can't expect to blow everyone out, especially because, like you said, parity. And for those of you who don't really understand that term parity just means the gaps in talent,
Closing.
it's closer.
Yeah.
It's not like these guys are these 4 or 5 teams are just so much more dominant than everyone else. They're going to stomp a mud hole through everyone. That's not how it works in this generation, this era of football.
Yeah.
The dynasty eras are close to being done. Now it's time for the most competitive athletes to fight hard to get to a playoff to where you can test your mettle. And that's what we're working on. That's why we're going to a 12-team playoff system. But these, like, the long gone are the days where every best player goes to the team that's winning the most. That's over with. NIL has changed that landscape.
It changed it big time.
The transfer portal has given guys opportunity to really like explore their options for real. Because they're like I never grew up a USC fan. I never did. I didn't know much about USC. I'm from Chicago, so I knew about Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame. I knew about Northwestern. Those are schools that I was familiar with, and like Miami and Florida State. I knew those teams. USC was like not even on my radar. By the time I moved to SoCal, and then I started learning more about UCLA and Cardinal and Gold, it was one of those things where if I could get paid to go to any school, like with NIL types of opportunities or whatever they could offer that's legal in this era, I don't know if I would have selected USC, over some of the schools that probably would have given me better NIL packages. I don't know that USC would have been my ultimate destiny. So let me just close. Let me land my plane on this point. So for athletes, they can grow up loving a school or grow up hating a school. But that school, if the school they hate offers them the greatest opportunity and propensity for success in their lives, that is something that they very tangibly have to navigate. They have to explore that option, whether they grew up a Bama fan or a USC fan or not. If Bama says, hey, we have this incentive set for you, and if you follow these rules and guidelines and do it the right way, you're going to have this much compensation while you're in college.
Absolutely.
Even though my dream was to play at USC, man, I'm going to explore that Bama thing. And Bama might be the worst team in the country at that time, but I'm still going to explore it. That's what the parity is allowing for. So don't think, because I don't think Mizzou, who played Georgia to the brink, I don't think they're like that much better than ASU. I bet you if ASU and them played, that would be a hard-nosed,
hard-nosed game. I told you what Arizona State did to Oklahoma. They took Oklahoma State to the fourth quarter. And the final score was what, 35-17. Oklahoma State's number 17 in the country. We're number 6. So they did the same thing. We put the most points on Arizona State this year. Utah only put 31 points on them, 31-13. And so I think that alone should be encouraging to USC fans to know that USC put the most points on them. Caleb Williams went absolutely berserk. He had those guys looking like they were lost in the sauce as they were swimming for him on the field. I mean, we can transition into that. And as some of these questions come in, I'm just gonna put them up on here where you can see them as well, and that way we can kind of get to them. But let's talk about Caleb. Go ahead.
How many do we have watching us this evening?
Right now it's 51.
51. All right, 51. Hey, if you guys are not subscribed, subscribe. Hit that.
Absolutely, subscribe. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button.
Yes, and share this content so we can continue to grow and and have the means to bring you more of this action, because I believe that God is doing something pretty wonderful and powerful in this
Absolutely.
dynamic that we're creating, and you guys are our community. And
Absolutely.
we to be honest, you guys aren't here for us. I don't want you to think that you're here for us, guys. We are truly from the bottom of our hearts here for you.
Yes, sir.
We are trying to do this to make certain that we can give you all insights and shoot it to you straight, unlike some of our peers who, I don't know, sugarcoat it, water it down, or whatever it may be. But our goal is to have a very communicative narrative about what we're doing in this Trojan community, and we value you, we love you, we really do, and we're grateful.
Absolutely.
But yeah, hit that subscribe, and let's keep this thing alive.
Absolutely. Appreciate that, man. So transition on to what Caleb Williams did. Would you say that this is Caleb Williams' most complete game? When you looked at all the things he did, minus the little interception, when he went back to the huddle, he said, "My bad." He understood that that was his bad. Minus that, but all the stuff that he was doing, looking like Houdini out there, in and out of the pocket. I mean, he looked like a straight up magician. I mean, it was incredible what I seen from Caleb Williams.
It was incredible.
What's your thoughts on that?
I think it was a Heisman type performance. If you stack about 2 to 3 to 4 of those together in a season, you're arguably the best quarterback, if not the best player in the country.
Yeah.
I do still believe that his first game in the Coliseum was his most complete game by my professional opinion. The one that he played against Rice, he was phenomenal in every phase of the game. And again, that's Rice, but it doesn't matter who you're playing. It does not matter who you're playing. Any team can beat you on any given Saturday.
Any team.
It's the truth. It's why there are so many wonderful and amazing upsets every year. It's why there's an Appalachian State every year. There's anybody can get that work and get that smoke at any given time, because the ball is not round. It bounces weird sometimes, guys.
Yes.
That ball bounces weird sometimes,
and it might not bounce your way if you're not careful.
It might not bounce your way. And sometimes one single player can be so disruptive and just bring havoc. So I think Caleb, his best game by far, and y'all might look at me crazy, his best game was against Rice. His second best game was against Oregon State. Even though he didn't throw the ball as accurately, his overall game, how he kept his guys together, was able to bring it together and execute and avoid so many sacks that game, and use and put his body on the line and made the right calls when he needed to and executed when he needed to. That was his second best game.
Absolutely.
This was his third best game.
And speaking of that Oregon State game, he made the critical decision and the critical throw at the critical time when we most needed it at the most time, the best time. I mean, he couldn't have did it any better than that. Right. I'm going to get to some of these questions, so Caleb Williams, yeah, man, he had a pretty incredible game, man. Do you think he should eliminate some of that running? Well, some of the hesitation in the pocket. My fear is that the collar, the
horse collars.
Yeah, the horse collar, man. It would get him, man. I mean, do you think, or is that just his style? I mean, should he just continue the way he knows how to play ball?
This is his style, and that's what makes so many opportunities for his receiver. That's why his receivers believe in him and they don't give up on their routes. Is because he has an ability to extend plays beyond that of what a secondary can customarily cover, at least consistently. Like he's going to always make plays like that, but also he's a very high risk, high reward type of player. That's what you get. You get that with a kid.
Right.
So you can't get ticked off when he actually makes a bad pass or bad play in those moments, because it is inevitable. It will happen at some point in his career, hopefully not consistently. And then you don't want to define the guy by just like a bunch of loosey-goosey weird plays. But the truth is he's always still surveying the field and looking for the best eligible receiver, the best option in those moments. And you can tell how his body is like still calculating what to do as he's running. When he's running the ball, he's instinctive, but he's more calculated than instinctive as a runner. He's very much, you can see even how he stutter steps and how he hesitates and how he'll almost even walk in the middle of a scramble and then like fake a slide and step out of bounds. He's seeing, well, how are you going to respond to me if I move this way? And then what is still my receivers? Are they still alive? Are these DBs running off their guys to come downhill to make a tackle on me? And he baited him on one and got the ball across the middle to Austin Jones.
Yeah.
Right. So he ran right up to the line of scrimmage, and right before he crossed it, he took a half step back and threw it across his body, which is technically a no-no for a beautiful first down, because he forced that backer to run with him. He stepped back and made sure he was behind the line of it. That's instinctive. Those
instinctive.
are things.
So in other words, you basically,
it's brilliant.
If you try to prevent that, you basically handicapping him from doing what he does.
You are
absolutely.
And
absolutely.
And it's like telling he's a unicorn. It's like telling a unicorn to be a horse, because that's what we see. Well, unicorns are extinct. You should be a horse. So, horses, we can understand horses. We love them. Horses are beautiful, but he's a unicorn. It's like telling him not to have his horn.
Right. And so looking at those yards he put up, man, he put up 348 yards. He went 27 for 37. And you look at what Cam Rising did against Arizona State, 19 for 29, 260 yards. Emory Jones, quarterback last night, 21-36 of 36, 261 yards. Caleb runs circles around both of those quarterbacks for Utah and for Arizona State. I'm sorry, let me get the quarterback. Yeah, that is the quarterback for Arizona. So he ran circles, man. He put up some big yards, and I think, man, he really put himself back. Last week kind of took a step back, I guess, because of the yards from the Heisman contention. But I think this week, according to them, he took a step forward. So I think he's back in the mix. And I think the Georgia quarterback, I think he lost in the sauce. He might as well forget it. I mean, they had kind of a they took a step back with that game. I don't think he's in it no more.
We'll see. There's an SEC bias out there that's just pretty remarkable. So
it is.
We'll see.
It is.
But
speak to the refs. Look, Kevin says, "Oh, go ahead."
What's up, K-Mac? I see you, my buddy. So yeah, you know what? All refs are horrible. Just put it that way. Every conference is going to say that their refs are terrible. Every conference, SEC says they got the worst refs. The big conference says they got the worst. The ACC says theirs the worst. Here's what I'll say about the Pac-12. The Pac-12 refs are really unique because they enforce the rules a lot more than other refs. They just do. They really, really call penalties to impact the game. Whereas a lot of other refs allow football players to play football. And so, yes, I think had the refs not been as involved as they wanted to be towards the end of that game, and throughout certain parts of the game, the refs' bad calls put USC in favorable positions. So you just got to say, look, man, sometimes, again, the ball bounces your way. Sometimes it doesn't. But I don't believe at all that when Jordan Addison was running down the field and the DB, I think it was number 12, I don't remember, he poked his hand up and batted the ball down. They called pass interference. And to be honest, it was clean as a DB can play that ball. The only thing is he didn't look back for the ball. He just poked his hand out. He never touched Jordan. They called pass interference in favor for us.
Right.
And then let's flip it. We get a weird holding call where, I think it was Cortland. I don't know. One of our old linemen was getting held as he was blocking the defensive end, and then they both fell. And that was a long, deep, beautiful pass to Mario. He caught the ball, scored, and did the Naruto run, a touchdown celebration, and it got called back. Now, in the SEC, that's probably not a hold. That's probably not a penalty. And in the Pac-12, the refs sometimes just want to be a part of the game. So these guys want their kids to see them on TV too. So they want to make some calls. So you see Daddy throw that flag? Yeah, I did good. So you guys just got to understand that that's always going to be a part of it. To complain about referees is just completely only control what you can control. And then if you want to fuss about refs, call it both ways. Because I saw some refs make some favorable calls for USC that I didn't think were penalties in our favor. So it is what it is. Now I just hate that they love to make those kinds of calls at the end of the game when big things are on the line. Like those pass interference calls were totally bogus at the end of the game.
They were bogus. And we would have held them to 17 points if they did not do that. The same thing that Utah held them to. And the
That's
same
correct.
thing that I believe Oklahoma State held them to. No, Utah held them to 13. Oklahoma State held them to 17. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, that was crazy. Half-Breed says the train is moving. Look, man, hey, Half-Breed, I threw the keys away a long time. I threw them back in May because, see, I knew, Half-Breed, I knew that it was going to be some individuals trying to get on the train, and they have no access to the train right now. They tell them, if you talk to them, tell them I said they lost in the sauce. The keys have been thrown away.
Your
All right,
ticket
Half-Breed,
is
the keys
expired.
have been thrown away, man.
Your ticket is
Kevin says,
expired, brother.
oh, let's see here, Rob. But one guy hit me and said, he's speaking about the recruits. You've seen all the recruits, and before the game, me and you FaceTime, and we seen Zachariah Branch family, man. They gave us a big fight on. If you guys are watching, fight on, fight on,
We
fight on. We
love you
appreciate
guys.
you for
We
tapping in last
love
night.
we love the
Big
Branch
time. Hey,
family.
you
We love
some
the
good
Branch
people. Hey,
family.
so listen,
Yeah.
I think it was Brian. Brian said, how did the recruits look in person, man? We had a mass amount of recruits last night. How did they look in person when you seen them on the field?
So I'm 6'1", about 6'1 and a half, 235. Weighed in this morning. There were linebackers. There were linebackers there that were like 6'4", probably the same weight. But I'm grown. I'm a grown man. I've been lifting for 20 years, you know. These young kids are huge, man. These dudes are massive. The D linemen, they all look like they got so much swagger and athleticism. You can see all the skill players. You can just tell how dangerous this generation of upcoming athletes are. And you know what? They fit in. They really fit into the USC
Yeah,
culture. They
absolutely.
really like they look really, really well placed in the USC body. And the student section, when those recruits come in, they show them so much love where you can see how these young men, their eyes light up when they see everybody screaming for them.
Yeah,
And then the song leaders and our band is like beating the drum, bringing them onto the field, and then they get access. You know, they get to be a part of the process of what it is to be part of this Trojan family. And I know that the new nucleus of athlete we're bringing in are going to have heightened and elevated expectations of excellence.
big time.
And because of that, this is the worst we're going to play in the next 5 to 10 years.
Man, I truly believe that, man. I believe this thing has gone to another level, man. And I was looking at speaking to some of those recruits. I saw T.A. Cunningham, the transfer, the guy that came from young man that came from Georgia. He's at Los Alamitos now. I've
Yes.
seen he's a big old monster, man. Did you get a chance to look at him? Did you see him?
All I did was give him a nod, like, yes, sir.
Hey,
Hey,
that is a big old. He's a junior, but if I'm not
junior.
mistaken, I heard somebody say that he could possibly reclassify. Lord, please let him reclassify. If he reclassifies, hey, if he
I
reclassifies,
believe he is. I believe he is.
yeah, if he
I think he's going
if
to
he
try to come out.
reclassifies, we get him, man. Have him ready in the system. Sean Newell gets with him, man. That guy is a monster, man. I've seen some of his highlights.
He wants to come with Lemon and Malachi.
Yes, yes, he does.
With Lemon and Nelson. So
Absolutely,
yeah, man, and
absolutely, Oscar.
It's great.
This is Oscar. Do you guys expect any of those recruits to commit anytime soon? I do. I really do, especially after last night. What's your thoughts on that, John?
Absolutely. It depends on the position types. I think the big guys will commit sooner. Skill position players, particularly defensive backs, they commit later. Like DBs always commit a little bit later. And it's just kind of one of those things where they want to see how you finish out your senior year, finish out, your junior year before they start writing those really strong offers for you. And a lot of guys want to know where their options lie at the end of their season, because it doesn't behoove a young person to actually commit too early when there's NIL implications involved. They know that if they play so well going into their last seasons, they can build up a little more credibility in their stock value. So
yeah,
it's a different game. Like when I was younger, to commit early was the biggest honor and the greatest and most best safety net. Like you commit as early as possible.
right.
So you have that safety net to know that if you go out and play as hard as you can and you get injured, your future is already still set. You're good.
Right.
Whereas now they're like, hey, they're getting guidance. Like, hey, hold off a little bit, because the more interceptions you get in high school, the more we can shoot for NIL incentives when we try to get you to commit somewhere. So just recognize that and just have patience. Just continue to play the game. And most of these young men are going where they're celebrated, not just where they're tolerated. If you want them, that's not enough.
Right, right,
You have to put your money where your mouth is, and you have to also incentivize them to believe that they have a very, very strong and compelling future under your leadership.
right, right. Marcus Nelson says, "What do you guys think of Damani plays last night, man? I
Great.
think Damani had an interception, but he dropped it. He was so close. I think he has that it factor, man. Damani
He
is the
does.
man. I'm a big look. Hey, I'm his biggest fan right now. I'm gonna tell you
He
that
does.
right now. I
He
think he's
does.
gonna be a superstar. I think he's playing better and better. What you
He
think,
has
John?
he has a big, strong, athletic body. He's very great in run support, very disciplined with his technique, in my opinion. And he got to catch that ball, man, because that's the
Yeah,
beginning. That's the beginning of
I would have
him.
loved for that to happen for him last night.
That's the beginning of his ascension. And you
Yeah,
know what? You could tell how high the coaching staff is on him. And
yeah,
I got to talk to the, you know, I got to talk to Coach Dante very briefly at the end of the game when they came out of the tunnel.
yeah,
And I was like, man, tell the money that's 50 push-ups, man. That ain't no 10, that ain't no 20. That's 50 push-ups because he could have stole the game right there. That would have
right,
been
right.
a huge game-changing momentum swing. Huge.
Yeah,
Because before that, before that, they had 0 offensive yards in that second half.
yeah,
They had 0. They were still at a 0 for the second half. And that was 4 minutes, that was 10 minutes left into the fourth quarter. That was 10 minutes left into the
yeah.
fourth quarter. And had he picked that ball, that'd have been it. That'd have been
That
game.
would have been it. Yeah,
But
yeah,
if bobbled up, boom, first down, which ended up leading them to a score. But
yeah,
that would have been the ball game jack if he would have picked that ball.
yeah.
So our defense wasn't as opportunistic as they've been, but I think Damani he felt that night, boy. He was in bed like, dang, gone it, God. Oh, that would have been my dang, bro. That was my
Yeah,
moment. He broke on it, he jumped the ball, boom, off his chest,
yeah.
and but he just boop, lucky. And that's why I
Hey, but
say sometimes
we kept the cycle of getting another. We had another INT
another
last
pick.
night. Caleb Bullock was
Yeah.
able to get one last night.
I filmed
So
that.
that
I'm
that
gonna
was
send you that. I filmed it. I was like, I was filming it. I was at the very top of the Coliseum looking down. I always like the first half, I look at the field view, and the second
yeah,
half, I go up top and watch the whole field to see everything. Right?
yeah, yeah.
Excuse me. Man, my throat is sore from screaming and hollering. I was hollering. They couldn't hear me though. I was talking about some scream, scream. They couldn't hear me. I don't know what I was hollering for. but
Hey,
um,
Halfbreed says thanks Jaywalk for the FaceTime from the game last night.
For
He
sure,
really
man.
appreciate that, man.
I'm going to try to get a better Wi-Fi signal the next time I try to do that. The Coliseum on purpose has very poor cell reception. They do it on purpose so a lot of people can't be fidgeting with their phones all game. So that's like a secret in the Coli is they don't give you a good Wi-Fi signal on purpose. They don't want you goofing around. They want you engaged in the game. So
Yeah,
the signal is bad. The reception in there is bad. So we were blessed to get whatever we were able to pick up last night. But
yeah, yeah.
but
Yeah,
I have a
it
clip.
was a little shaky, but we were good. We got the gist of it, man. I think
Good,
everybody
good.
was really appreciative of that.
Yeah.
Uh
I'm
Kamasi,
gonna
what's up? Kamasi,
what's up?
what's up?
What's up, King Kumasi? What's up, brother? God bless you, brother. I'm gonna send you that clip where I'm like, hey, this is about to be a pick. I'm filming it. I was like, this is a pick guaranteed. Because I could see the defense and I knew what offensive play they were gonna do. I knew they were gonna run like a little dig or a curl in the middle. And if I had to bet $1,000 on 2 ways. I win 1,000 if I say they're going to get a pick, or I win 1,000 if I say they won't get a pick. I would
Yeah,
have bet $1,000 that they were going to get a pick for sure,
yeah,
because I knew that we were in the right defense for that coverage. And I was like, here's our pick. Here it is.
yeah,
Boom. And he picked it. And I said, yes. They finally did in that game what they were supposed to do in the right defensive coverage. And again,
right,
credit
right.
to Alex Grinch for having situational awareness in football. And we were in the right position and we had the right defensive call, I would say about 70% of that game. The
Yeah,
issue is sometimes we missed tackles, sometimes we didn't execute the assignment, and sometimes we lost our eyes in space because they had a scrambling quarterback. Other
Yeah.
than that, really well done job.
Absolutely, man. Kamasi says, and Kamasi got some good footage, man. I seen Kamasi. I seen you putting some stuff on Instagram, man. You were on the field, and I seen you. Looked like you were praying with one of the guys, man. Appreciate that, my brother. But you said, if USC gets Mateo St. John Bosco, this will be the biggest blessing. Absolutely, man.
Yeah, it would.
Look, if Mateo, if
Definitely
you
would.
watch it, listen. We need you. We want you. Please come on. And we back. We saying, please, my
Come
man.
on, brother. Come on.
You
Come
know,
on.
so
Mateo,
let's see.
sometimes you
John,
wanna go
Jaywalk,
where
when you
everybody
gonna run the
goes,
team out of the
but
tunnel? When
man.
you gonna run the team out of the tunnel?
Man, you know what, guys? I don't know if I'm a tunnel tier Trojan. I'm gonna just keep it a buck with you. I was talking to brother Kumasi, who was just on. I said, I was not a star at USC. I was just a very hard-nosed contributor that worked his tail off. And yes, I was a fan favorite, but I'm not a household name in the Trojan family. Not yet, at least. I think God is doing some things in my Trojan journey in this phase of my life, but if they would so bless me with that honor, it would truly be a dream come true. It is something I've dreamt about. I've also dreamt about holding the sword after one of the games. I've never had the opportunity to do that. And so those are things that I have always really believed in for myself, and I'm still going to hold on to those. But the next opportunity they present is going to be the one that I run my butt out that tunnel screaming like a maniac, running with the guys. But that's really
Big
cool
time, man.
for you
Big
to ask
time.
for that. Thank you.
Joe Boy says, I think this team will win a championship. It's going to make the team. It's going
It's
to
going
take
to take a
time,
little
though.
time.
Yeah.
There's
Hey.
no greater time like the present, and a championship is relative to what your goals are. I mean, let's think about it this way: we already are having a far more successful season than last year. Our expectations are very fair, right? We want excellence. Also, just recognize that football, there's a lot of nuances to the sport that doesn't always allow for a team, no matter how well they're doing, to be
Yeah.
put into a position where they have that opportunity. It's just the
Yeah.
way it works. There's AP voting, there's computer rankings, there's so many little things that are outside of our control. And then the coaches polls. Right now, we're the worst in the coaches polls.
Absolutely.
We're the worst in the polls that people say how valuable we are, and
It's
that's good.
crazy, man.
And
It's
that
crazy.
goes
I seen
big.
some polls today. Oh my
Mhm.
God.
Yeah.
I almost
What's
threw
up?
a remote
What's
control
up,
at my
Trojan
phone.
fans? Look,
I'm
you know
not
what?
lying.
You know what? There's one cure for people, and that's just win, baby, win. Just
Yeah.
keep winning. Win them ugly, win them clean, win them bloody, win them lean, win them. Just win.
Yeah.
Win, win,
Yeah.
win. That's it.
Yeah.
Win forever. Coach Carroll used to say, win forever. And we got to
Yeah.
play with win intensity. We got to win with intensity. That's why it is important to keep these boys under 20 points. It is important to put our throat on their neck when we got them down. It is important to run up the score, show up and show out. It is important to highlight the depth that we have. It is important to get our dang special teams going. It's important to do
Man.
these things, right?
Man.
So we
Man.
just got to keep rolling. But just know this: that a lot of the factors that allow for a team to be bolstered in position to actually really do something extremely tangible, like a playoff or a championship opportunity, it is outside of the players' control, unless they lose. If they lose, then it was completely their fault.
Absolutely.
If they win, there's a human component, a computer component, and then a whole nother thing that I just totally don't even understand, where they're strength of score, margin of error, margin of victory, penalties, they start to factor in everything. And matchups, if you played the same team and you played the same team, what was the margin of victory or loss or whatever? So there's a whole bunch of stuff. Put it that way. It
Yeah.
gets a little convoluted, but we are on track and on pace to be a top 5 to 3 team, because the truth is that I'm excited about is Ohio State does have to play Michigan.
Yes, they do. One of them gonna knock each other out.
And Georgia does have to play Alabama, correct?
Yeah.
This season, don't they play this season?
They do. No. They don't play this season. If they play, because they're in the SEC East,
But
Georgia.
SEC championship game, if they both make it.
They have to play each other in that game. But you know how they're gonna put those teams. They say a one-loss SEC team is better than it, and we know that that's not the case. That's why we really need a 12-team playoff. but they're going to put if they both go undefeated, they're going to put one of them, both of them in the championship, the 14 playoff. I mean, they've done it every year since they had the playoff, pretty
So
much.
true. So true.
You know,
So true.
so you seen Georgia and Alabama in it last year, and they end up playing each other in the national championship. I hate the system that they got right now. I mean, it's not real parity. But I mean, but anything can happen. Kentucky can beat Georgia. I mean, the way Georgia played last weekend, man. I mean, you got a lot of people. Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee, they can get lost in the sauce with any of them teams. I mean, just based on what they played, the way they played last weekend.
And at any given point, Auburn could take out any of those guys. Sometimes
Yeah.
Auburn just shows up and goes crazy some games.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and LSU, and LSU. So let's continue to let the season unfold. We got a big one in Wazoo. Wazoo has always historically been a challenging game, always been a tough game, and they always bring it. So
yeah,
we just got to keep playing and control what we can control.
Yeah. Oscar has this question. Do you guys think our special teams will cost us a game this year? Our special teams are horrible. I'll let you answer that one, John.
Well, our special teams are not very good, and I think there's a couple of ways to improve our special teams. Number one, let's just fair catch the ball sometimes and get it on the 25.
Let me speak. Let me ask you this. I'm going to ask you a question on top of that question because this is no knock. Everybody hear me out real quick. This is no knock on Addison. I'm a Jordan Addison guy. I love Jordan Addison. But I've seen a couple of games now where he's fumbled the ball when he's caught the ball on the punt return. What do you guys think, John? What do you think? Should we? And this is what I miss Gary, man, because Gary Bryant, he was one of those guys that was a punt returner. But I know they had Brandon Rice out there or Mario. What do you guys think as far as what do you think, John? As far as Jordan Addison catching punt?
Well, I think he's talented and capable. I just believe that it's unnecessary to have him out there.
Yeah,
I don't believe it's you might be better pressed to put a Raleek or a Taj Washington or even a Mario back there. But for now, Jordan is there for a reason, and it's not my job to question the competency of the coaching staff when they got guys back there, because we don't know if the other guys were having a problem with judging the flight trajectory or had enough wisdom and confidence to catch the ball with a screaming dude running, to hit you in the face. There's a lot of things that go into it. I mean, I was an exceptional punt returner in high school, and in college, it didn't feel the same. So, I totally understand that. What I will say is I think because we haven't had any explosive special teams offensive plays, that I believe that these guys are just wanting to make a play happen so bad.
Yeah.
That we're, it's just we're struggling. We're struggling there. I would prefer to see us kick the ball through the end zone a lot more often and stop kicking it so short to where, they catch it on the 5 or 6, and then by the time they're done running, they're at the 34. I'm tired of that. Yeah, I'm tired of that.
Here's a big one. Everybody kind of talked about this. TCU offense pounded OU by 55 points. Garrett Riley is TCU's offensive coordinator. Lincoln Riley's brother. Same DNA punishing Oklahoma for disrespecting his brother last night. Fight on. That's a great point, man. TCU worked on them yesterday, man. And what's your thought on Lincoln Riley's brother?
I actually thought he did exactly what he was supposed to do. He kept it in the bloodline. He's like, okay. He said, okay, that's my DNA. Like you said, DNA. Do not attempt to mess with my family, because I'm gonna smash you. And that's what that word, DNA. Do not attempt. I love that. Let's go. So I'm proud of him. And I'm sure he and Link had a good little call, like, hey, bro, I got you. Yeah, I got you. Great job.
Absolutely. So we're going to wrap things up. Let's see. John, he says, need to get Damani out there. Damani was out there, and I think they're going to work him in gradually. I don't think they're just going to put it all on him. But he every time we see him out there, he seems to be progressing every time he goes. So I think he's doing his thing.
And I'm going to give Corey his roses. Corey Foreman was out there balling.
Yeah.
He had a couple of really tricky plays, but when he was out there, look, he created some of those forced sacks. He really did. He was flushing the pocket and allowing for the other guys on the other side to eat. So I saw some flashes of Corey, like, and I have to correct myself. In the Oregon State game, he didn't play, and you know, in the last cast we did, I was like, you know, I think he was out there a couple of times, but no, he was not. He never played. But I did say it was going to force him to be a little bit hungrier and to graduate from hungry to greedy. And last night I saw some very wonderful, greedy individual efforts.
I did too. I
where he
seen the
just
shoestring tackle. It looked like he dove for the guy, man.
look, he was punishing guys with his speed and athleticism. The thing is he's going to become better. He's going to make some of those plays. And the more you get confidence, you get 1, 2, 3 sacks. And next thing you know, you're like, okay, I figured this out. Like I got there, I got the recipe now. So I'm gonna show Corey big ups. I think Eric Gentry was a baller.
Always baller.
Always. I talked to him at the end of the game about legacy number 18 and how he was represented it with pride. I knew how tough it was to play. Friends and teammates, and he just did an exceptional job.
Hey, for those who don't know, John Walker wore number 18 at USC. For those who don't know, who are on here right now, he wore number 18 as well. So Eric Gentry is he's representing that thing.
That's correct. And for most people who don't know this, the last 12 guys that have worn jersey number 18 have all gone on to play in the NFL. You know, dating way back to Jason Sehorn, and then R.J. Soward, and then a gentleman named Corey Dickerson, and Corey passed it to me. And there's other guys that have been wearing it as well. Then I passed it down to Damian Williams, if you guys remember him. Then Deion Bailey. And then Deion Bailey passed it down to here's another linebacker that was really pretty solid. But then also we had a kicker that wore 18, Bueller. I believe. And he got drafted by the Cowboys. But just bottom line, that the number 18 has some great legacy to it, and it is one of those numbers where you got to be a baller to rock the great 1-8. And Eric Gentry and Jude Wolf, one of our tight ends, who's arguably our most well-rounded tight end. He's dealing with a foot injury, but he'll be back soon. The great 1-8, man, is balling.
Absolutely. Jeffrey Jackson said, "You gentlemen understand the game and the pressure and the effort it takes to play USC. Perfect." He says some show are negative about young man and speak of the, absolutely, man. I totally agree, man. I've told you guys plenty of times. At the end of the day, these are all human beings. These guys have feelings. These guys will tune into these shows. And just like yesterday, you know, we seen some different people that tune in. And listen, we want to make sure we keep it respectful. You will never see disrespect over here. Now, you know, you will hear me say that Oklahoma was lost in the sauce, but at the end of the day, we're not disrespecting anybody. They just was lost in the sauce. You know, so
hey, that's all it is. That's all it is. If you take a L, there's no other definition. You lost. That's what it is.
And that's it.
There's no hatred involved with speaking the facts, right? Nobody's being malicious. Hey, could I get a survey real quick, big bro? Could I ask them?
Oh yeah.
Can you guys chime in real quick? If chime in on your comments right now, like spam the comments right now. If you guys would like us to carry on for about another 10 minutes or so, or if you're ready to wrap it up. If you want us to keep going, throw up your victory signs. Let us know, you know, if we got a little more room to kind of have this conversation, because we really want to answer some of these questions and dedicate the last portion of our show to make it certain we communicate with you all. Yeah.
Chosen 20 says, "Oh, you lost in the sun." Yeah. hey, here, Archer Quick. Here's Archer Quick. Here's Terry T. If I can get them.
Yeah,
I mean, they throw them up.
Deuces. I love them deuces. V is for victory, baby. V is for
They throw them up. Yes. They throw them up.
Yes.
They throw them up. Big Brian, all the way in Alabama. Archer Quick.
Y'all giving me goosebumps. Yo, let's go. Let's go, Trojan family.
Yeah, we appreciate it. And so that's pretty much and put them questions down in the chat box. All those who want the questions answered. Like I said, those who came on late, John was on the field last night, and we kind of had a FaceTime, and he was up there with on the field, right there with the players, right when they were warming up. And so we spoke about the recruits. We spoke about Caleb, his performance last night. We spoke about the defense the defense is not as bad as what it really seemed, and you basing that on numbers. We look at we compared it to Utah. We compared it. Appreciate you, Anthony. Appreciate you, LA May. Let's see. And so, okay, John, who is your pick to step up in the second half of the season and playing for us big, playing big for us?
Okay, offensively, I'm going to say this is interesting. I'm going to say Malcolm Epps continues to really ascend as a very, very great tight end. I got my eye on him because he's doing well in every phase of the game. He's run blocking, he's doing everything well, and he's getting open. He's open a lot more than he gets the ball. So I'm going to say Malcolm Epps becomes one of those really big time guys, and I believe that all of our running backs are going to find their ways to get jiggy. So our backs in the backfield as a whole, as a unit, and I hope that they give Barlow some touches because he's a beast. But he's a major part of that core of that backfield. And on defense, I think Eric Gentry is going to continue to separate himself from the country.
Yeah.
So you're just going to see more from him.
That's good. Trojan 20 says, "What do you think?" And man, I'm gonna tell you, I love this guy. What do you think of Brandon Rice? He's big, explosive. Man, let me tell you something. When he got the ball last night, it was one point, I think it was going up the middle. I seen a level of explosiveness that I really didn't realize he had. I mean, he had a burst. I mean, did you see him last night?
I did, and he's like tall as me. He's got a good big frame.
Man, he's physical.
And the thing about him is he really positions his body well. So he reminds me of Pittman. He's a similar type of receiver, and I'm 100% sure that Caleb is going to find a way to get that man more involved and get him in the end zone. I know he is. I know he is because he has been so diligent and so hardworking. How could a guy as talented as him actually be a sleeper on our team? But he is. But
it's crazy, man.
He's very, very, very consistent, and he only has uphill. He's a prototypical NFL receiver, and he's going to have a strong
big time. He's going to be a star in the NFL.
He is.
John, he says, "Do you feel Riley still haven't showed the whole offensive playbook yet?"
Less than 30-40% less than.
Yeah.
We're not trying to stretch the field. We're not showing anyone our deep threats yet.
Yeah. And it seems like it's kind of been limited to an extent. I mean, we've been kind of doing some little hit and miss and stuff. Oscar says, which player on the defense or offense were the X favorites?
X Factor.
X Factor. Oh, yeah, X Factor. I'm supposed to say, okay, X Factor to get us to the playoffs.
Well, obviously, Caleb is the X Factor on offense. Everything streamlines through the pulse in his veins. Like, that's our X factor on offense, without a doubt. Without Caleb, we'll be a different type of team, and we would have to really change a lot of the way we operate. So we'll say that he's exponential, number one, and number two, everything that I'm feeling inside just tells me that, like, Eric Gentry and Mekhi Blackman, those guys, if they continue to play at the level that they're playing,
I love Mekhi Blackman. He is a lockdown.
We're just gonna be safe. It's a no-fly zone. It's a no-fly zone because I know Sierra is awesome. He's awesome, but he's still so young. Between Sierra, Damani, and I want to say McCutcheon when he gets in, and even Jacoby when he gets in that corner, those guys they're all do a really similar job, and they're kind of interchangeable. But Mekhi is locked down. We need him.
Straight locked down, man.
We need him to match up on their premier receivers. And then also to make sure that we don't give up soft and easy dink and dump routes in the middle of the field. We need Eric Gentry to continue to know that he's that guy.
Yeah. Here's a good question as well. Roger, he says, play 31 more, laughing out loud. Bird as well. Bird and Tulane can help. Kansas State transferred Tyrone Tulane. Man, I didn't see him last week too much in Oregon State, but this
He was
guy
hurt.
came in and balled.
He
He
was
balled
injured.
out last night, man. He
No,
was doing his thing.
yeah, he didn't really get to play much in the last two games because he got banged up in the first game. So
Yeah,
welcome back to the rotation. Like, you know how everybody was talking about our interior line play and all this. I knew that we had two or three guys that were banged up because
yeah.
even oh my gosh, I can't believe his name is slipping my mind because I love him and respect him so much. But he has a cast on right now.
Oh yeah, yeah. You
Our our
Hey, Kamasi, put that name in there. You know we talk
our
about defensive tackle. That's your guy.
our D tackle, he's amazing.
Yeah,
Look,
yeah, yeah.
please
Kamasi
forgive me.
know him.
Please
Kamasi,
forgive me, brother.
he wouldn't fed the homeless with Kamasi, but his name slipping my mind too. I cannot remember his name.
But he's yeah. So he's been fighting through injury. He's an amazing guy. Like, don't sleep on our D line. You guys
Yeah.
want to talk about how much yards they giving up? We've only given
Dejan
up.
Ben. Thank you, Kamasi. I
Thank
knew
you,
I knew Kamasi
Dejan.
was connected with him. Yeah,
Dejan,
I appreciate that.
no disrespect, bro. We love you, brother. We love you, Dejan.
Yeah,
So our defensive line, as much as people want to talk crap about it, it's actually, I think, one of our strengths.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm going to stand on that because our defensive line creates a lot of turmoil for quarterbacks. They don't sit there comfortably. Look, we have 5 sacks this week
yeah,
on a scrambling quarterback.
yeah, yeah. That's
Let's
good. That's a great sign, man.
let's
That is
think
a great
about
sign.
that. Let's
Yeah,
think about that. Like, we got to be in the top 10 in the country in defensive sacks. And we got
yes,
to be in the top. We got to be in the top 20 in tackles behind the line of scrimmage or tackles for
yes,
loss.
yes.
So we have a very sound unit from top to bottom, and our defensive line, although we do get gashed from time to time, like a lot of times it's not for the grand slam home run.
Right, right,
There we go.
right. And that's a good thing. Brian says, who would be your choice at left tackle? I'm gonna say Cortland Ford. I just believe that Cortland Ford is a better fit. Nothing against Haskins, but it just seemed like he was before he got hurt, prior to him getting hurt. I just felt like he was more consistent as it relates to his play. But you can still change them guys in and out, man. But Cortland Ford, to me, I think he was even leading in fall camp. What's your thoughts, John?
I actually do feel the same way based on seeing the productivity over the last couple of games. Cortland just seems to have a little better feel for the game, and that's just kind of where we
Yeah,
are. But again, by game 8, game 9 of the season, that might be a tough pick because everyone is playing better. You can't name one person on our team that's playing worse.
yeah, yeah.
That started
Everybody seems to be playing at the park.
and is digressing. Nobody's going
Yeah,
backwards, and that is a
yeah,
huge sign because you can tell a lot of players across the country actually are not playing as well as they did in the first 2 weeks.
right, right. So we're gonna get ready and shut it down. This is one more question. B skills. I agree. Our D line is underrated and being slept on. Absolutely. I think they're good. I think we got a good even TCU transfer Earl Burkett. I think he got in there last night. And I hadn't really seen him all year, so
Yeah,
it's
he did.
creating a lot of depth right now.
He did. He
Yeah.
did.
So listen, man, we've been on here an hour and 13 minutes. We appreciate everybody for tapping in, man. And listen, me and John might have a show. We might do some segments here. Hey, and it's gonna be called Lost in the Sauce. That might be coming to you. it might be coming to you. We're gonna deal with the top 25 who was lost in the sauce. You hear me? It might be coming to a screen near you pretty soon here. So look, man, hey, we appreciate everybody for tapping in, man. John, anything you want to say before we close this out?
Every
And
time.
so many teams lost in the sauce, they need a whole segment on.
Listen. Guys, thank you guys for giving us room to just be authentically ourselves. I mean, I think we are the only we's we know how to be, and
Absolutely.
that's really great. So God bless you all. We pray the Lord continues to shine heavily in your life and in your loved ones' lives. May He be with you. May you guys go with peace into the rest of your weekend. Enjoy some time with loved ones prayerfully. Tap into this Monday with some strength, knowing that we are 5-0 as a Trojan family, and I believe that the Lord is really fueling and powering what we're doing here as a community. And there is not we without thee. We can't do this without you. And so all power to the Most High, our Heavenly Father. And
Amen.
please, please, please make sure you guys just continue to show this love and know that this is as genuine and as sincere as two brothers can be. We love you and we love our Trojans, and let's continue to fight on and let's do it
Real
together.
talk.
Fight on forever.
Everybody, man, until tomorrow, fight on, fight on, fight on.